Good.
I was down in the Keys over 10 years ago. Hooked up 3 of them.
All righty.
3 went away.
So,
The last one sewed my fly line all around the dock piles and said,
I'm
"See
going to
ya."
call our February 15th, 2024 Ordinance Review Committee meeting to order. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, we are all here, with the exception, obviously, of the Schatz. And we have a quorum, so we are good. And we're going to start by welcoming Eric Green to our committee. And for the people who are on YouTube and don't know, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And
Well, my name's Eric Green. I live on South Waterboro Road in Lyman. Been there for around 13 plus years with my wife, 2 children, granddaughter, and enjoying retirement, I guess, right now.
nice. Good to well, welcome to the committee. Okay, so I sent to Dave and Buzz, I hope you guys got it, the packet that we're gonna go through tonight with the agenda.
Got it.
Okay, Buzz, did you get it? Can't hear me. Okay, so onward and upward, we, item number 1 on the agenda is discussions on the committee and its members. I did reach out to Lee Schatz, asking him just where he is and if he is going to come, be a member, be present or not. I did not hear back from him. So there's that. And then there was some discussion recently amongst the town manager and one of the committee members that there could perhaps be a discrepancy and whether we should be a committee or a board. It says one thing in one place and one thing in another place, in the charter, that is. And basically, we were all appointed to this committee, so we are therefore a committee. If we were a board, we would have been elected. So we are a committee
Well,
until it changes.
I mean, you were on the charter commission, right?
I was on the charter
If you
commission.
read
and
the
until-
charter, it lists boards and it lists committees. There's
Okay,
a spot where it lists boards and it lists committees.
and it's in both places, I'm aware.
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm aware that it says both. In the back of the charter, there's a flow chart. So either way, it doesn't matter. We're moving on.
It's,
We're moving on. It's not a board, it's a committee. We were all appointed. It's going to remain a committee until the charter changes. So there's that. Moving on.
I guess, just because you were elected or not doesn't make any difference, because the charter says that the budget is a committee.
Okay,
So that's an elected.
Okay.
So it's not whether it's elected or not, it's what the
but we
charter
were not
says you
elected
are.
to this. We were appointed to this committee.
And budget
So we
committee's
are a
elected,
committee.
and they're a
This is
committee.
this is not the charter committee. We are ordinance review. It's a committee. We were all appointed to this committee. We're moving on.
So the charter is incorrect then.
Until the charter changes, we're a committee.
Okay, but the charter says we're a board.
So item number 2 on the agenda is looking at the minutes. I'm going to let everybody take a minute and look at the minutes from our last meeting. If you didn't already, I did send them out via email, but they are in the packet as well. Okay, so I'll start out with this. I just noticed a couple things. Wherever it says, you have in here SWMPDC, it's just SMPDC.
No W.
No W. But then also the first paragraph where it's bold, Lee J. Feldman, SMPDC, the last two sentences of that paragraph. Peggy asked about revising the map to move or create more zones. I did not say that, and I would like that struck.
Where I'm looking. You would like that struck? I thought I took it right off the
You did.
YouTube, but if you'd like it out, I'll take it out.
I would like that out. And Lee J. Feldman actually, I looked for anything that even resembled either of those remarks, and I could not find it. Lee said that it would be far more work and would take much further study.
Correct, that's what he said.
And Lee J. actually said that going back, if we were going to move zones, that you have to start with your comprehensive plan, that it should be in that order. Comprehensive plan, then go down to if you're going to move lines at all, that you would do that before your map. I don't mind leaving that Lee said in their sentence in there, but I definitely did not say that, so I would.
I don't have a problem taking that out, but.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee that he didn't say that the comprehensive plan will identify where the zone lines are. It won't.
He didn't say that.
Oh, that's what you just said.
No,
Okay.
I
What-
said that he suggested that we go in that sequential order, that we start with comprehensive plan and then move to our mapping. If we were gonna change zones, then we would do that obviously before we changed our mapping.
So what would you like me to write it?
You can leave it as is, except that
Take
sentence
you out.
that I said, yes.
I can do that.
And does anybody else have anything else about the minutes?
Peggy, can you bring your mic closer to you?
Sure. Can you
I'm
hear me
having a hard
now?
time picking you up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little better.
Okay, all right.
I think that one's for YouTube and it's the box for.
Oh, it's the box.
Yeah, so it's the box.
Oh,
Can-
yeah.
Will it move closer?
Okay, yeah, it's because she put it through that little hole. there.
Yeah, I think that's as far as it'll go. You'll pull the plug out.
There we go. Is that better, Buzz?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good deal.
I remember asking Lee J a question, and I don't see it in here. But
Which question would that be, Dave?
that's a good question.
If you figure it out and let me know, I'll have it.
I think, Dave, you were asking about the data. I actually have watched the YouTube meeting twice.
Yeah, I think
since
there's
then.
something in here about data. Did I put
And
something in about data?
You had asked about, I think the word that Dawn used was smoothing the data. So if we get all this data in and we source that data ourselves, that it would go to SMPDC and they could smooth the data for us.
Yeah,
in a certain way.
that's where I got this paragraph that starts out, he was asked about providing data. I think that was
Okay.
you.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, anybody else on minutes? If no, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve? As amended.
As amended. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. So,
Do we have to vote?
what's that?
Do we have to vote?
Yeah.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so on to item number 3. Our January 18th meeting, item number 3 is 10.6 from our previous meetings. On January 18th, the motion was made to strike the word owner occupied from section 10.6 ADUs of the Lyman zoning ordinance. The vote was 4-3 in favor of striking. At the following meeting on February 1st, one of the committee's members suggested that we needed 5 votes to pass. It was a legal meeting. A quorum was present. And a majority of that quorum favored striking the word. There is no state guidance on whether it's a majority of the committee or a majority of the quorum. It was a majority of the quorum. The vote will stay.
Just to be clear, I never even mentioned that vote. I just asked how many people it took to pass a motion. You just might have assumed that I was talking about, but I was not.
I'm not assuming anything. I'm just
Okay.
saying what we're
You
going
said
back
it,
to.
so I didn't.
So,
If you look back at the
but the
record-
vote does stay, and the words owner occupied are going to be stricken. We're going to edit that right now. Dave and Buzz, you guys can't see, but I am going to take that out.
That one or the other?
I think
Oh,
you need them
better.
both. Yeah,
Ah, that's perfect.
yeah, that works.
That's good.
Do you want that or not?
Yeah, we
Can the
can't
people
see
at-
our papers.
The people
though.
at
Right,
home
but I
can't
can
see
see
you.
that.
when you do
Yeah,
this.
and
Just so
they
you
can't
know.
see
I
us,
think
you're
we should
right.
Because I watched.
The whole meeting like this.
Neither can anybody see it.
So go with the back one, Dawn. Yeah, that's good. We'll make that work.
Everybody has to have a little under their chin with a light on it.
So now I'm going to move that we go to the shoreland, which is section 15B, subsection 2.
Wait a minute. Well, we're still on this one. 10.6.2 is supposed to be 800, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I just
Yeah, this is all the
finally
edits.
seeing it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the
it's hard to
only
see
edit
Woo.
that we needed to do.
Okay, so that's, all right.
Yeah, so that part's good.
All right, shoreline.
Now we have to move to shoreland.
Just the striking thing.
Oh, yes, thank you, Joe.
Hmm?
Yep, a single family instead of and single family. Yep. And I did put in your packets all the edits that were done through January 4. And all the contract zoning stuff taken out, so on and so forth. Then, of course, there's that section 10.6 that we just struck the word. But then that last page is the shoreland. Uh, 15B, subsection 2. And it's in your packet here too, Steve. So we did the same thing. Obviously, we took the section, Eric, in case, because you obviously weren't here, but we just took this section from the regular zoning ordinance and pasted it into the shoreline ordinance. So now we are, right. So now we discuss the owner occupied part of shoreland.
No, we didn't. We discussed the owner occupied part of the other one, not the shoreline.
I said now we
Oh,
discuss.
now you're gonna do it, okay.
So I'll open that up for discussion.
So to make it clear, Peg, we're talking about the same wording, owner occupied in shoreland zone
Correct.
on 15B.
B, subsection 2, yep.
So first of all, I read it, one accessory dwelling, should be
Yep.
accessory dwelling,
That needs to change, yep.
shall be permanent on a lot and must meet the following conditions.
Okay, I'm pulling it up now. Accessory dwelling unit. ADU shall be permitted on a lot where an owner-occupied single-family dwelling is located and must meet the following conditions. That was the only edit, right? Accessory?
Yeah, but if we're to strike that word, it would read, one accessory dwelling unit, ADU,
Yeah.
shall be permitted on a lot and must meet the following conditions.
Yes.
So should it be accessory? Accessory.
Yeah, he already, that's what he said. We mentioned that before, but it just never got changed.
Okay, but,
It's accessory, not assessor.
It's just criminal.
CC?
Oh, dear.
ACC, there we go.
Get that out of there, Peg, Jesus.
Sorry. Also under
There we go.
15D as well.
It's on 15D as well.
AR1, right?
We need to switch that out just to ADU.
Yeah. This is a-
Yeah, I think we decided to just not spell it out, just leave it ADU.
Yep. Is it,
Is accessory with a ORY?
where are you, Joe?
Right, you.
Oh, yep, okay, I see it now.
Again, ADU would suffice, I
Yep,
think. Maybe get rid of that, all you do is next thing.
yep.
So can I make a motion?
Sure.
What's the
So-
motion?
One ADU shall be permitted on a lot and must meet the following conditions.
Okay. So
Need a second?
we need a second on,
I'll second it for you, Dave.
okay, so there's a first and a second to strike the word owner occupied in shoreland. Let's open it up for discussion again. Go ahead.
We took the owner occupied out of the regular one. It was a close vote. Now, there's a big difference between normal zoning areas such as general or residential, which require 5-acre lot or 3-acre lot. A regular lot in shoreland is less than an acre. Most are less than half an acre. Anybody who's been out to the shoreland area sees that people are pretty well stacked up next to each other. I believe personally that those words ought to stay because it's gonna make a real problem out there if we don't have some control over what happens. We've already allowed it to be a 2-bedroom house instead of a 1-bedroom house. So now they could go to 2 bedrooms. I just believe that it should stay owner occupied for shoreline.
Okay.
I would tend to agree with Dave, but my issue is fairness. We're letting half the town decide on their fate for their property, but we're not letting the other half of town. If we were the governing body and this was our decision and what we voted in made the change, I totally agree with you, Dave.
Well,
But
as far as,
we're sending this out, the people are gonna decide for themselves.
I
That's
can,
how I see it.
I can understand your analogy, but it really doesn't work because, for instance, the rest of the town has to have 3 or 5-acre lots. Shoreland only needs to have less than 1 acre or maybe half an acre. So they're already being controlled in a different way than the rest of the town. So it's like, and there's a lot of, and I can't go through item by item that's different, but there's a lot of differences between the regular zoning ordinance and the shoreline zoning ordinance. So as far as saying, well, we're given one group of people the ability to do one thing and the other, I think the reason for an ordinance is to protect our inhabitants, our current residents. And I believe by opening up the shoreland area to owner occupied with 2 bedrooms, I mean, we've already went from 1 bedroom to 2 bedrooms. So now we're gonna have 2-bedroom units. I mean, I believe we should leave it at 1 bedroom, leave it at owner occupied.
Anybody else?
Well, my feeling on this is that we're really not being fair to, and I'm only concerned as people age. And, you know, they just don't want to deal with the weather in Maine anymore. They own this property, they may have an ADU, they may need the income. But now they want to reside in Arizona or Florida, and they want to put a relative, a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a sibling in this building, but we're saying no, that they themselves have to remain here or they can't have their ADU. And I just don't see why we want to restrict their use of the land. We're saying that because they are not physically there, there's gonna be an issue. They're gonna rent to jerks that are going to, you know, bring down the neighborhood, and I don't think so. I mean, if you and Jeannie decided to go someplace and you put someone in the house.
I don't have an ADU, so it doesn't matter. And I'll never have one.
Okay, and you know what, I just don't think there's gonna be a lot of ADUs, because first of all, it's a lot of money to construct. It's not like, you know, for $10,000, you can put a 2-bedroom ADU. It's just not gonna happen. And I think we're trying, because we can always revisit it. If it turns out that we've made a mistake and there's an issue and people are being hurt, I just don't think there's gonna be a lot of ADUs. I don't think people are gonna be building a lot of these units.
So just to be clear, I want, so if the ADU is clearly allowed in the shoreline zone,
Clearly allowed.
but it has to meet all the setbacks. So if you live in a shoreline zone and you want to put an ADU, you can put the ADU as long as it meets all those requirements in the zoning ordinance. The only thing at question here is if that owner has to be in the property in order to rent the ADU. And again, I agree with both sides. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I think it's just as much about the property rights as it is about the, you know, being in a shoreline zone. But I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that fact, that we're not striking somebody's ability to have it. It's just whether they have to live in it in order to have the ADU.
And the issue to me is it's a density issue. It's a 2-unit per 3 or 5 acre versus a 2-unit per a half acre. So instead of the ADU being with the renter being 200 feet down the road, they're 50 feet next door.
But we don't have control over that.
You do. You have control whether it's owner occupied or not.
Yep, but it's still the same number of people.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem. I'm not saying they shouldn't have an ADU.
Right.
I'm saying
No,
they
no.
ought to control the renting, to control, and, I mean, Matt had said the same thing the last time. It's an issue. And it's gonna be a density issue. Now we're gonna have Airbnbs or whatever, instead of having one family next door to you, you're gonna have 2, 50 feet away.
But my concern is, you know, we're speaking for 5 or 6 other ponds. You know, I mean,
think they'll all have the same
that's the whole
idea.
purpose of that we're going through this exercise to pick out things. We're not trying to control anything, but we are trying to make sure any change that we do advocate for
It's fair.
is at least fair and with the forethought of property rights.
Yeah, and protection of other owners.
Go ahead,
Sure.
Don.
My comment would be that it just seems like it ought to be consistent between the regular zoning ordinance and the shoreline ordinance. I mean, I think Dave makes some valid points, there's valid points on both sides. The other thing going through my mind is that, I don't think right now we have anything covering short-term rentals. in the
Right.
We
ordinance.
won't for a while.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying is that's where I would maybe, if the board goes, or whatever you guys are, the board, then whatever, goes in that direction, then maybe in that area, some controls. can be
Control
put
over
in
that
In
in
case
that way.
there's issues with short-term rentals, and then I think Matt had some issues about knowing, about short-term rentals. So that might be an area, but just from a consistency point of view, I mean, Dave makes some good points. I would suggest that it ought to be the same, but that's
Yeah.
2 cents.
Did you hear that, Dave and Buzz?
I did.
Okay, perfect. So does anybody else have something to add on this?
How would you enforce if someone's living?
That
there
was
or not?
another thing that came up. It's not enforceable, really.
Well, that's
because
not really true.
We just don't have, I mean, if
Well,
it's
how would
there,
you? Do you ask
It's
the
the
person, are you
responsibility of
living
the
there?
CEO.
or-
the CEO would be the one that goes out.
And
And basically, that's, the CEO will go up and knock.
Yeah.
Basically. And say,
Seriously?
But
That's
my
kind of
question,
out
I guess, more is, what is considered living there? I could go live in Florida for 5 months and still, this would be my residence.
Yeah, if you're,
But you could rent it out.
Right.
now that's the issue. What's the definition? This is what you're asking. What's the definition of owner occupied, okay? If you're a snowbird and you want to leave in the wintertime, that's fine. You can go to Florida in the wintertime, but you can only rent one unit out. One of the units has to be still under your control.
Go ahead, Buzz.
Yeah. Dave, would you let our chair run the meeting, please?
Oh, anytime.
Your home that you're-
Okay, so we've spent some time on it. I'm gonna suggest that, that we move on. Let's just take it to a vote. So we already have the one motion, the second motion, so we're gonna vote. All in favor of striking the words owner occupied from section 15B subsection 2 of the Shoreland Ordinance?
Aye.
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 And did you were for, yeah. So, yeah. So it will pass.
You gonna ask for nays?
Nays are 2. Yep. Okay. So there's that.
What was that,
Before we
5%?
move forward, can we move back for a second to 1.5.5?
Sure. Let me just change this live edit first and then we'll go back there. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud and make sure everybody is okay with this wording. 1 accessory dwelling unit, ADU, shall be permitted on a lot where a single-family dwelling is located and must meet the following conditions. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Are we going to strike the 1 accessory dwelling unit and just put ADU?
That's
The wording,
the
I'm
first
sorry, the wording
one,
is
Dave.
Accessory dwelling unit.
Yeah, that's the first one that, so that's where we put it in parentheses. And then the rest of them went to just ADU.
Yep.
And you wanted to go back to what section?
1.5.5, I have a question.
Okay, 1.5.5, which is in your packet of the regular zoning ordinance,
Yes,
page 2.
so it's 1.5.5 and 2.
Yeah.
2 is in green.
Okay.
The first sentence, I just don't understand. This ordinance does not grant any property rights. Why does it say that?
This ordinance
Anybody
does
know?
not grant property rights.
I mean, just the fact that we own property, we have property rights. So I'm just confused why it would say that. I read back, I read forth, it doesn't pertain to anything prior, or it doesn't seem to pertain to anything prior. I'm not sure why it says that. And to me, just having it there is basically leaving the door open to, there's an ordinance out there that grants my property rights, and that's not that.
I just wonder if it's speaking to the fact that this document does not grant your rights. The fact that you own the property grants your rights, not this document.
Right. That's correct. And actually, you said that, Dave, just in a different way.
Yeah.
So, yes, by virtue of owning it, you get your property rights.
It's not.
Not
this
by
document.
virtue of the Lyman zoning ordinance. Correct. Yes.
I think it's in the original. I think what it is saying is that this does not supersede any deeds.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound
Makes
more?
sense.
I'd buy that.
I would say some attorney put it in somewhere along.
Yeah, that could be too, for sure. So are we good with that, Dave? Is that
Sure.
clear as mud?
If everybody understands it.
So basically, it's saying that this is not granting you the right. The owning the property is granting you the right, not the zoning ordinance. Okay?
And just a small one, just because we're moving forward.
Sure.
10.6.3,
1.6.3. Oh, 10.6?
10 points, yeah,
Okay.
10.6.3.
Okay.
Is that in the packet?
Yes, it is.
Accessory
Almost
dwelling
towards the
units.
What's that?
Accessory dwelling units.
10.6.
There's just one,
Yeah.
just the word is that needs to be
ADU.
crossed out.
Okay, I'm gonna put ADU in there. Correct? Everyone wants ADU in there, right?
Oh, yeah, I see what you said.
Yeah, prior to that.
Yes. ADU may be added to the existing dwelling structure, attached to the existing structure, or in a new structure. The ADU, including those, let me see, I'm gonna switch it to ADU. The
You taking out is,
Yeah, it doesn't look long.
including those located in the basement of a single-family dwelling unit.
I think you need to strike through it rather than remove it because it was there before.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Is.
Including.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you get strike through on sheets or whatever.
Oh, I don't know, do we?
Or whatever,
Yeah, it's
Google Docs doesn't have strike through, maybe it does.
Hmm. Strike. Where's my strike? And what color would go? It's gonna be yellow. It is yellow, so.
Try styles to the right under, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
No.
Well, you could create a style.
under home probably up at the top. Because home, what's,
Yeah, see it?
ABC, see right up there, straight up, up.
Yeah, up
Up,
straight up.
over.
Oh, right
Right
there,
there.
yeah.
There it is.
Okay. There we go. Now we're on the right track here.
Of course,
Okay, so the word
I'm
is
saying
is
you
struck
can't do
out.
it and it's all over the stuff. Oops.
the ADU, including those. Why did that go? I don't know.
It's gotta be struck through.
Yep, that is struck through.
It is?
Yep. The ADU, including those located in the basement of a single-family dwelling, must meet egress standards of the NFPA Life Safety Code number 101, as well as other required codes and standards. Okay. So I'm going to ask that everybody, we can scroll down through this. I'm going to start up at Article 1. And it looks like Buzzy and Dave have already started doing that. But I would like for this Article 1 all the way through to Shoreland and the changes to be done tonight so that we can get them off to Lindsay and send them for legal review. So whether you guys want to look at your packet that I gave you, or we can go down through it here or look at it here, is fine, but maybe all eyes on it. We can say, yes, this is good. Just keep in mind that this document came from Google Doc or whatever. So there are a few formatting errors in this, but we can fix those as we go along too. But I want everybody to be sure that it looks good and it's okay to send to Lindsay to go up to Brad Moran.
What does the blue mean?
I don't know. What had you planned? Was the blue in there for a reason, Dave?
I don't know.
Well, so it says need to check that, and it's blue, and we don't.
Maybe that's why. 'Cause
Oh,
it
maybe
was-
that's why it's blue.
So can I clarify? So we're in the regular zoning ordinance.
Yep.
And you think we're gonna get through the entire zoning ordinance do you think we're gonna get through the entire zoning ordinance with these edits?
You mean, no, this is only what's going.
Right, and maybe I wasn't clear, but last meeting we talked about, I don't know that we should edit half a document and send it. Or
Well,
either, let's do it all or do nothing.
Yeah,
but the
I
only reason
agree.
we're doing that is for LD 2003.
Right,
Yeah, that,
10.6.
10.6, and I agree, but
Separate.
that was suggested at the last meeting, and it was suggested that we voted on it, so it has to go. I don't care if it does or does not go, and I'm pretty confident the town manager doesn't care if contract zoning goes on the ballot or not either. It's really kind of up to us what we're going to ask them to put on the warrant, and I'm okay with just doing 10.6 and Shoreland ADU to comply with LD 2003. But if you guys want to put contract, I'm okay with that too. But
I was just talking about editing half a document and sending that to the attorney. I think that's a waste of time.
Yeah, because we've stricken
contract zoning. Go ahead, Dave.
we discussed this before, and
Yes.
I thought, and I agree with Matt. We agreed that we were gonna do the contract zoning change, the ADU change for both shoreline and regular. And then we discussed also throwing in the flood because that's
Yes.
I agree with, why would we want to just do part of the big ordinance? We should do it all or nothing.
I don't have a preference one way or the other. If the committee wants to just put contract zoning and ADUs, I'm okay with that too. I'm fine
I
either
mean,
way.
I think it'll keep it a lot simpler.
So we would start with basically 1.8.3. And there's nothing to edit there. It's all stricken.
Right.
Leave out establishment of districts
Correct.
and then go straight to 10.6 and shoreline. I love that. Go ahead,
Right, I
Joe.
Hey, can you do 10.6 back up, please?
Sure.
I think in non-attorney words, our warrant articles should be like remove
You went by it.
1.8.1 from the zoning ordinance. add this language or change the language in 10.6 to this. And
Yeah.
change the language in the shoreline.
And if I'm correct, I think the lawyer recommends the wording. Is that correct?
Yeah, oh, I believe you're correct there.
Yeah.
Just to- Should we push ADU in the parentheses right here?
Okay, let's do
And
that.
then wherever we go.
Yep.
And down here, plug in ADU. That's consistent with what we have with the shoreline.
All right,
Another
we
one
got a
there,
problem
too.
here with 10.6.1.
ADU.
Where else did you say, Joe?
10.6.2.
10.6.2.
Yeah, right
Okay.
And then here.
Oh, yep, okay.
there. Just gonna put each of them.
Let's just
But
do
you
that.
also have
Okay.
on which, where, oh, is which crossed out?
Yes.
God, I can't
You
see
can't,
that.
you can't just delete it.
Yes.
Again, you gotta strike it out.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
part of the existing ordinance.
Okay.
In shoreline one, you don't have to because it's not part of the ordinance.
Okay. Strike, and we're gonna put it,
That'll be the correct.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
no parentheses.
No, no.
Okay. All right.
And then
One there, and then down below.
Up above at 10.6.
Okay.
No, you leave it there.
Leave it there.
Oh, you leave that one in?
That's the first one.
Oh, it's the first one. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
And then up here,
No.
No, that's the first one.
ADU.
There.
This one.
It's ADU.
This one, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll go, no, we don't need parentheses.
And that should probably be in italics because that's the way they show the new stuff.
Okay.
Is it also colored or no?
Well, they won't.
I don't
color it
know
in
what
the
all
warrant.
the
It'll
colors
just-
mean, so I
It
didn't.
would
It'll
be
be,
green.
it'll be in
It should be green.
italics.
Okay.
I just colored it so it would stick out.
Okay.
Okay. Italicize this one too. All right.
Begin with the-
And then 10.6.3, Peg.
1063 ADU italicized. Yep. Okay.
Was that already there or is it new?
Yeah.
I think that was already there. That's why it's not italicized.
No, it's inserted.
It was inserted because
Oh, you took out, did you take out accessory dwelling unit?
Yeah.
I didn't,
No,
but
I think it was ADU right there. We have to look, maybe we need to look at it, but because it wasn't highlighted already, I think it was probably already there.
let me look.
Well, originally it said accessory dwelling.
Yeah.
It did.
Then we should put back accessory dwelling unit and strike it out.
Oops. Okay.
You copy and paste that whole
Are
replacement.
we on 10.6.3?
We are,
Yes.
and we're putting back, apparently, I don't know why it was gone, but accessory dwelling unit written out was not there. It should have been there. It was originally there, so I'm putting it back in and I'm crossing it out on the copy and I'm adding the italicized ADU.
Accessory dwelling unit appears twice in that.
See it. Okay, yep. Added to the existing dwelling unit. Attached to structure.
Just copy and paste the crossed out ADU.
What are we doing?
Copy and paste where you have it before and paste it in.
Oh, does it belong there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're flying now.
Okay,
One on 6.4,
6.4.
right there.
Yeah.
We're up to 10.6.5, Dave and Buzz, looking for edits.
That one's good.
Okay.
10.6, 100, it says 100 and then in parentheses 150.
So we need to put
Pick a number, any number.
150.
Yeah, 150 and then parentheses 150.
Okay,
Yeah, that should, the and 50 should be italicized.
okay.
We're adding.
Was it one, it was 100 before, right?
It was
It was
100 before,
200.
It
yeah.
was 200.
200.
Oh, it was 200 before?
Yeah. in the
Oh, okay. but
Oh,
we're
so
still
we
on.
have to put,
But we're adding,
That's good.
Driveway's longer.
we're
than
just
200.
adding and 50. Don't, you don't have to change the 100.
Well, we're changing 2 to 150.
Correct. So
That's
the
what
and
we're-
50 needs to be italicized.
200, 150, yep.
So
That's
the
what
100
tells me.
should be italic, is that what you're saying?
The and 50 should be italicized.
It is.
Not the 100.
Not the
It
100,
is.
no, because the 100 was
Yeah.
there before.
Okay. On street.
I don't think you need the word and.
That's right.
150 feet.
Got it. Okay. Your.
No.
Don't, no, please don't. Okay, so,
Can you tab that?
can I what?
Get back where we were.
Sure.
Oh, it seems to have keep going down.
Sure.
Yeah. Right there.
The
Tab that.
10.6.6?
Yeah. tab.
Yeah, that formatting, let me see if I can fix
Just-
that.
yeah,
There we go.
Go down to provide and to tab that. Yeah.
There we go.
Good.
Okay, and then,
Twice hit save.
yeah, there we go. It's saved. Okay. All right. So 10.6 is done.
All right, there we go.
We've accomplished something.
Do we have to vote on that?
We voted on all of it already.
No.
Okay, so 1.8.3, that's an easy thing, all done. That's ready to go. Just did 10.6, that's ready to go. So let's just move down to shoreland again. And we'll just go through it and make sure that it doesn't need any edits. So Dave and Buzz were on shoreland, 15B subsection 2. Just going down through that to make sure there's no edits needed there.
So we already made that first change.
Yep. For the ADU, I don't, is that italicized? Yeah.
And so we're starting with A.
Right.
So we're doing an ADU there instead of an accessory dwelling unit.
Yep. The lot, including a legally constituted non-conforming lot where the ADU is situated, meets all the current dimensional requirements of the district. The ADU shall not exceed 800 square feet of habitable floor area. The ADU may be added to the existing dwelling structure, attached to the existing structure, or in a new structure. There needs to be a period there. The ADU including those located in the basement of a single-family dwelling, must meet egress standards of the NFPA Life Safety Code number 101, as well as all other required codes and standards. The building containing the ADU shall have the exterior appearance of a single-family home. The unit must comply with all applicable building codes and expansion criteria of the Maine State Subsurface Wastewater Rules. Driveways longer than 150 feet must provide.
Strike and.
Okay, got it. 150 feet must provide an adequate emergency vehicle turnaround within 150 feet of the end. On-street parking will not be permitted. Okay, does anybody have anything to add to that or want to change before we give it a blessing? Because I love it. All right, so it's good. I will send those 3 things off to Lindsay. And we had discussed signatures. We're probably gonna do the 2 sets. One for the contract zoning, one for ADUs, because the ADU parts will be together. But now we have to add the flood part to it. Flood, Lee J had suggested that we adopt flood as is, as a standalone ordinance from last week, remember? Lee J. Feldman is from Southern Maine Planning and Development Commission, he had come in. And basically, FEMA came in and said, here, you have to adopt this flood ordinance by July 17th, I think it is. If you don't, basically anybody that carries a flood insurance policy currently will not be able to have a flood insurance policy. So
this isn't retroactive. This is moving forward, or it's anybody that happens to be within that area now has to conform to that ordinance.
This would be moving forward, is my understanding anyway.
So if somebody in a flood zone that's already in the flow, so if somebody's there and now it's considered a flood zone and went for a permit, would they have to do this onerous ordinance?
Yes.
So-
And onerous is a very good word because it's grueling. Has everybody, I sent everybody a copy of the flood ordinance. If you didn't have a chance to look at it, it is in your mailbox, but it is a pretty grueling, no, it's a huge document, Steve. It's a pretty grueling ordinance. But nonetheless, we don't have time to redo it. And like Lee J said, just put it in as a standalone ordinance. And if it needs to be revamped or whatever, just revisit it at a later date. Because at least you're in compliance if you get it in. The problem that we have is that it has to be adopted by July 17th. So the select board is going to have to do an emergency ordinance, and they are allowed to do that for 90 days. And that should be enough to get us to the vote. So I guess my question is this. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
And I believe that this is similar to the state shoreline zone ordinance. We don't have to have a shoreline zone ordinance. If we don't have one, the state mandates it. We can have a shoreline zone ordinance, but it can't be any less restrictive than the state's, and it's the same with this. We can have our own flood control ordinance, but it can't be any less restrictive than this one. So it seems to me, the easy thing to do is to just take theirs.
To just adopt it. Absolutely. I 100% agree. I think we need to. We don't really have a choice. I just know that if people can't get flood insurance, they're gonna be out here with pitchforks, so we have to.
I'd be surprised if many.
I'll make the
people have
motion.
flood insurance.
Do we know how many people in Lyman are affected?
Probably not.
No, not yet. So there's a motion on the table to adopt, and Dave's got second, to adopt the floodplain ordinance that was recommended to us from the Department of Ag. And we will adopt it as a standalone ordinance.
Are we gonna adopt the, flood zone ordinance?
That's what we just voted, we just
We haven't
motioned
voted
for.
on it yet, Becky, is there some changes that need to be made?
To the flood ordinance?
Yes, under, development standards, section K, that's a good one that,
It's a very grueling ordinance. But I think if we dive into it now without knowing a lot about it, we're gonna be in trouble because of that deadline. Do you understand what I'm saying, Buzz?
And we can't make it less restrictive, Buzz. We can make it more restrictive.
under development standards at section K, restricts people from keeping a camper on their property. I mean.
In a
you can
flood
only keep
zone.
a camper on your property for 180 days, whether it's registered and insured or not,
But that's just in the flood
under
zone,
that section.
in the red zone, correct?
Huh?
That's just in the red flood zone, correct?
No, that's in, zones A, AE, and AH.
Hmm.
Shall either, it reads, it shall either, and then it goes to section A, be on-site for fewer than 180 consecutive days, and be registered, be fully licensed and ready for highway use, or it goes on to, just goes on a little bit to talk about a mobile unit. But it restricts somebody in those zones from keeping a camper in their yard for more than 180 days. And campgrounds in the state of Maine shut down for 7 months out of the year. What are they gonna do with their campers if they can't park them in their yard?
Yeah.
But you gotta remember, we can't make it less restrictive.
Yeah,
How do you make
I
it?
don't think we should just be giving that ordinance a blank check and letting it ride and restricting people like that.
Right, but as Dave Dulong had pointed out, Buzz, unfortunately, we can't go back and pull that back away from that ordinance because it has to be more restrictive, not less restrictive. So,
Well, yeah,
so in making it, in allowing
Is this a
people to
state
put that,
ordinance?
it would be more restrictive. I mean, less restrictive, sorry.
is this a state ordinance you're looking at?
No.
Yes,
No, this is a federal. This was
yes, it
developed by
came
the
down from
feds.
FEMA, but in the Department of Ag switched it to our
Correct.
own, they kind of curtailed it for.
And I think the reason for
linemen.
that, Buzz, is that the Fed, they don't want to insure somebody's camper that's sitting on there. So they're telling you, you got to get it out of there. I think that's the reason that's there.
Yeah.
They don't want to insure it.
Pay for it under a flood.
Correct.
Right.
You
It's
probably
managed
have
by
it
the
there,
flood.
you're just not gonna be able to claim it, that's all.
Right, right. You won't get insured if it
Right.
gets wiped out to sea or whatever.
Right.
So,
It goes back to one of your original questions. on
Yeah.
Enforcement.
Who's going to enforce it?
yes,
Right.
exactly.
If you want to keep your trailer there, you can, but don't try to collect on it, because if it gets blown away, it's gonna be gone.
So there's a motion and a second on the table to adopt floodplain. So, any more discussion on it? Let's take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yep. And all opposed?
You're opposed, Buzz?
One opposed.
Okay.
Okay, So we are now on and upward. In your packet, I put I suggested, anyway, the next ordinance is up for review. And because of Lee J's discussion last week about comprehensive plan and the sequential events, his suggestion that, comprehensive plan should really get ahead of us a little bit at a minimum. I feel that we should probably just completely move out of this now that we have done both shorelands, contract zoning, and flood. Those 4 things, they're 4 separate items, but they're going to be 3 different sets of signatures, I guess. We moved completely out of the zoning ordinance, right past the street ordinance, and just start working on some of these smaller ordinances. The first one that I put in your packet is the records ordinance. And I don't know that this is going to need any changes, but I think we should all read through it and take a look and make some suggestions. So I'll let everybody have a minute to read down through it. It's just a 1-page one.
It's in this packet?
Yes. Yep. It's called the Town of Lyman RFD 3 Biddeford, Maine Record Ordinance.
Records and positions?
I think that one probably needs some work. I don't know. It was done back in
82,
82, yeah. And our address was Biddeford, Maine back then.
right? RFD 3. I actually remember that
Yeah,
address.
so I think, has Lindsay looked at this?
I don't think she has.
I think she should probably be the first one to look at it.
And suggest.
Yeah.
Well, one of the first things we need to decide is right now, the 911 person has been the building inspector for the past at least 5 years that I'm aware of. But in this document, it says it's the assessor.
We're looking at the records and positions ordinance, Dave.
Yep.
That's got nothing to do with 911.
Well, if you follow it further down on 7A.
No, that's a
Oh, the
separate
first
ordinance.
page, Dave. The first page. We're on
Yeah, it's just one page,
the Town of Lyman RFD 3 Biddeford, Maine.
signed by Shirley Harrison.
Got it?
Yeah, that one.
This
Matt,
one right
we're
here?
not even RFD 3.
No,
I mean, that's gotta go, right?
Yeah, so it's.
Right out of the
bat.
bat?
Lindsay ought to
What
have the
is-
first shot.
Right
What
after
is
the
RFD 3?
That was
Yeah.
our address
That was our address, RFD 3.
15 one.
Yep.
before we got Alfred.
I'm showing my age.
Yep.
I've never seen those letters.
That's an ordinance.
Yep,
This is an ordinance, right?
it is, it is. Yep.
What fire department?
That was 82 though.
Okay, so
You were running.
starting down at the top of this, we're just gonna say that we know RFD 3 is gonna go. And we're gonna put just Lyman, Maine, I would assume. I assume that that's the correct date we were incorporated. I assume that they would not put that date
Yeah,
wrong.
but I think even the names of the people are probably different. I think Lindsay
Oh, for
really needs
sure.
to look at this.
For sure, I will definitely reach out to Lindsay. But I just wanted to see if anybody else has any other recommendations for this.
I don't know if you have this or not. Do these records need to be in like a fireproof cabinet or anything?
They are
or-
in a vault now.
Okay, I didn't know.
So
I figured I'd
That,
ask.
that definitely has to change. In the town hall vault, I would say. And I'll confirm that with Lindsay or not, obviously. These officials shall perform all their office work at the town hall. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that doesn't work today either, so.
That really doesn't, does
That's
it?
why I say, somebody's gotta take a hard look at this.
Probably is a good place to have Lindsay start.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
said. Give it to her and then she can, when she gets done with it, send it back, because they work it on now.
Okay, we'll do that then. We will send that off to her. The records, I'm gonna make a note to do so. And let's go on to the next one, which is
So-
street addresses,
What did we decide here?
that we're sending it to Lindsay.
To let her first look at all the positions and everything else, so that we
Yep.
have a,
So we've kind of tabled this?
Yeah, tabled it until Lindsay looks at it and gives her input.
So striking these officials will perform everything at town hall. Not addition.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, and then we are on to Lyman Town Ordinance on street addresses. Okay,
do we have an addressing committee?
no,
Again, just trying to inform myself. so.
yes.
Yeah, section 3, the addressing committee. So the CEO has had that responsibility.
Yes. Administered by the CEO. So are we we're gonna strike the addressing committee?
I believe there's an actual title for
Yeah, I believe it's, is that not the,
the 911, E911 addressing
Yeah.
officer is,
Okay, so we're in section 3. And it says this ordinance shall be administered by the addressing committee. We're gonna strike out that addressing committee. And we're gonna find out, I'm gonna make a note to find out what the title is of that person. We know it's the CEO, but there's an added title.
yeah, it could be a different type.
Yeah, I think. Yes,
I believe Julie Review also has that authority as well.
oh, to do that, yep,
To assign 911.
okay, yep, okay. So I'm gonna make a note to ask who has that authority and what their title is. All right. Okay. The addressing committee shall be responsible for maintaining the following official records of this ordinance.
That's the,
where are you? I'm sorry.
Section 3, administration.
that's the, who does the tax?
The assessor.
Assessor.
Yeah.
Isn't that the assessor's job?
Hmm.
Yeah, somebody's doing that.
Right.
That exists.
Right.
Well, you gotta get taxes on those new homes.
Somebody finds you.
Yep. Is there even a master street address guide? Do you know that, Matt, or not?
Yes, there absolutely is a master street guide.
There is. Okay, so that's good.
Did you check this authority? So somebody needs to check that.
Yeah.
Sure it's still.
Which
circle.
authority?
Well, just the authority
Title
itself.
30A MSR, section 3001. It's under section 2 authority.
Oh,
This
okay,
ordinance
yep.
is adopted
Oh,
pursuant
yeah.
to that needs to be checked.
All right, I'm gonna highlight that, I'll check that myself.
That's what?
What's the one right there?
Yeah,
what
we
about it?
we can go down through this, but I think we're gonna have a lot
Check,
more
make sure
questions
it's
than we're
still
gonna have
correct.
answers.
Sure, for sure.
Still correct.
Okay,
I want to know if this was a typewriter or a fancy word processor.
So, the naming system,
I would like to see us expand on A
on A of section 3
of section 4.
of section 4. Okay, section 4, letter A, guys. Similar names, no two roads shall be given the same or similar sounding names. You wanted to add what to that, Matt?
To include, well, in current stance, to include the town of Dayton.
Oh, that you can't have a name like, so we both can't have a Main Street?
Both can't have a Main Street. Both
Ah,
can't
I think
have.
that's gonna be an issue. 'Cause
Wow.
we already have like.
Yeah, I
Clark's
imagine you
Road.
already have that, huh?
Oh, we already have it, but
Yeah.
I'm looking to go forward, right? Clark's Woods
Yep.
Road, Clark's Mills Road.
Yeah,
You know,
There's
there's
a lot of
there's
them that are the
many
same.
that, and they get confusing for our responders, and it has delayed response times over.
Make a motion.
The last-
or
Into
But
that section.
I would like to.
I'll second that.
I think we should be a little broader than that as we.
It'll solve Matt's problem.
I think we should be a little broader as we look down the road 50 years in regionalization and say, you know, any municipality that shares our emergency services or something along those lines.
do other towns do that?
That's a good suggestion.
I don't know, there's only a few fire departments in the state of Maine that are responsible for multiple municipalities. So if you're responsible for your municipality, you do your own thing. But when you start bringing in two that we're responsible for,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's gonna be awful hard to police that.
Well,
everything's hard to
they,
police, but we
Yeah, I
gotta
know.
do something.
but there has to be a process by which, when the road is named, correct?
Yes, they have to come in and get it done.
So that would be, you know, whoever that does that
Yeah.
would say, yeah.
But you have to
it's one
get
of those
Dayton
in
to
Dayton.
agree also. So, because the both towns would have to agree.
Why would they have to agree what we can name our roads?
Because what we're saying is we can't name anything that's the same as theirs, and they can't name anything that's the same as ours. I think that's what you're saying, right?
That would be great.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the town of Lyman
Lyman
ordinances.
Yes.
And in Lyman, I would anticipate it being a quick phone call. Hey, do you have a Main Street? No, all right, you can have your road as Main Street. And if
I agree.
they say, yes, we have a Main Street,
Mhm.
because I think our ordinances can only control the town line.
Correct.
Right.
So.
So
it's
that's
not-
all
have-
we
it's-
can do.
If we already have a Main
Yeah.
Street, then they can make a Main Street.
That they can.
Yeah.
But I would hope that I can suggest the same ordinance change
I mean, it
there.
would be nice, yeah. I guess.
I guess I'm
So-
really struggling here. Like, if you're on River Road and there's another River Road and somebody's gonna say there's a call at River Road Dayton, somebody's gonna say there's a call at River Road Lyman, right? Isn't dispatch doing you that favor, Matt?
Oh, sure, but
So I mean,
we've been called to, you know, I just heard one in Saco the other day, 413 Simpson Road. Oh, no, wait, they're actually on Oak Way. So they don't even know where they live. And that, I mean, we can get back into 10.6 if we
well,
want.
that'll go on forever. You'll
But-
never escape that.
Right, but the radio communications, as you're probably well aware, are not always great.
Yeah.
And when over the radio you hear Clark's Mills Road, it's happened where they drove to Clark's Woods Road.
Yeah.
So the suggestion is that in that section 4, letter A, what's that? Go ahead, John.
I just had a question for Matt. I thought you were adding a position to the Jim Goodwin Mills weren't you adding a part-time person that was going to sort of coordinate this kind of stuff? Remember doing interviews there a while ago? You were adding a part-time position. I thought that was,
No, we're not adding any position. We didn't, no. So
is my memory incorrect there or what?
I think what you're referring to is one of our current members
Yeah.
received a promotion to work on community risk reduction.
Right.
But it's not adding a position, there's
No,
no.
no,
adding-
no, okay, I don't mean, okay, don't take that out of context. I
But
mean,
yes.
I thought there was an individual that was gonna handle this kind of activity. I mean, it sounds like, you know, because I talked about the kind of, what you have for signs and stuff like that, and I remember there was a discussion about having some consistency, for people on signs, and I'm just wondering if it couldn't be, getting some input from that individual on what would be desired to be in this thing.
Yeah, absolutely, no. That's all stuff that we're trying to do. Whether it's house numbering or road naming,
Big stone wall.
whatever it may be, we're trying to make things
Well, is there,
better.
what I was trying to say, Peggy, was, is if this, I'm not trying to tell you what to do by any means, not that I ever would try that to anybody, but, just saying that if you have somebody that's working on that, maybe that person could go through this thing and say, you know, if there's some other places that have better ordinances and beef this thing up to meet what the fire department wants, rather than trying to go through and say, oh, it'd be a good idea to have this, a good idea to have that. And also address this commonality of naming.
Right.
And then try to, if that's appropriate, I'm not sure if that comes under that person's
Sure
purview
does.
or not.
So perhaps, that's not a bad suggestion. So that's the second ordinance now. I mean, we have Lindsay looking at this records ordinance, perhaps having your guy, I didn't get his name, but whoever that is,
Yeah,
make suggestions for that? Is that something that,
yeah, I think that's something he'd be willing to do.
okay, all right, so that, I
Wasn't-
think that's great.
Wasn't this originally generated because it was required for 911?
I believe this date is pre-9.
But I'm saying is they gave us a mandate that we had to have an ordinance by so-and-so. I mean, this was a while back, so I can't say it 100%.
Yeah, this is
What I'm
96.
basically is I'm wondering if there isn't maybe a standard out there. So maybe your guy can look at that.
I can look for a standard. I mean, if we can have Matt Sky take a look at the ordinance,
Because I
I
remember
can
when
look
we
for
had to name all
other
the streets.
towns
That
and
was
see what they
because of
have.
911.
Yeah, E911 council, yeah. There's an E911 council, there's a lot more on it today than there was in 1996, for sure.
But Matt, when someone makes a 911 call going along with George says, you do serve two towns, do they ask if it's Lyman or Dayton?
I think the first question you get when you call 911 is what town are you in?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's the communications, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything can be perfect and we're still gonna go,
Right.
be told to go to Clark's Mills Road and show up on Clark's Woods Road, because that's what we think we hear at 2:00 in the morning.
Okay, so we have those first two ordinance. Did you have something?
I just wanted to ask
Sure.
Dave a question. I think, Dave, did you say that the person has to come in get the street address? I mean, the street name? I don't see, I just
Well,
don't read that in.
The
Yeah.
person has to come in for the street number.
Number,
Oh,
If-
for their
if-
home.
If somebody,
not the name.
the only reason to make a name now is if somebody's gonna put a subdivision in, because I think all the roads are named now. I mean,
Mine isn't,
Is there more than one house on it?
yes.
Then that's amazing. It's not named.
Well, my property borders South Waterboro, but then
What's your address?
what we called it was the old carriage road,
But what's your address?
857 South Waterboro
That's
Road.
why that's why I asked. But
But that person's address is South Waterboro Road too.
yeah, so that you're probably on the corner.
I'm on the corner, they're not, they're way in
Is
back.
that right? But they must have property on the corner.
No.
No?
No.
That's amazing. Yeah, you may want to come down and ask.
I mean, it's only been a year or so since the
Yeah.
person built down and back, but
Yeah.
I thought the town automatically, reading this, when I read it back then, assigned a street name to it.
Yeah.
But
Only
I
if you ask, yeah.
Okay, I didn't see
Well,
that in
well,
the
when this happened
ordinance.
is, I think people went around and said, okay, wait a minute, here's a whole bunch of streets that don't have names. And they hit a lot of the pond roads at the time. And so they named them all. But yeah, if you go in I want to say that they tell you you've got to have more than two houses. to get a
Okay,
name.
but
But check it out for
I
sure.
just thought I heard someone
Yeah.
said I read two, I think here.
It says,
Two or more.
oh, two or more, okay.
Two or more is what our
Yeah.
ordinance says,
Yeah.
but there have been, and I don't want to speak for Brenda because I don't know her job, but there was a recent construction off the South Waterboro Road as well, where there are two homes with no road name. They're just South Waterboro Road addresses, and she referred to back lot, and they were allowed to do it because it's a back lot. So that's way above mine, but
So how do you find it if a call comes in? How do you guys know?
They just
where?
gave them a different.
It's on Waterboro, South Waterboro. You just gotta go look for that.
right. I mean, ultimately on this one, there's mailboxes on the South Waterboro Road, and it'll say 110, or I don't even know what the address
Hopefully
is,
he'll see. the
in
names.
112, and we'll drive down there. Hopefully the number's on the house, and that's one of our biggest challenges is finding houses.
I think that's probably something that is pretty, it's probably not unique to me, but it's probably,
As you get older.
probably even more
Okay,
severe.
so let's go back to this. We're gonna have Lindsay look at the first one, the street address one. We'll have Matt's guy. In the meantime, I will look at other towns and see what they have for street address ordinances. I'll bring that in the next meeting. We're getting short on time right now, so I'm just gonna read out to you what the other 5 small ordinances are that we have. And perhaps if you guys have any good ideas about who I could consult with about those outside of that, if there's nobody, then we just go over those ordinances ourselves and maybe try to plagiarize from another town if we think it needs an update. The one after the street ordinance is the military tax exempt ordinance. It's ordinance exempting eligible active duty military personnel from vehicle excise tax. So my guess is that that comes down from the state. So I would most likely just go and cite the statute at the state and make sure that it's the same.
Do we have
Basically.
copies of those?
They were in our packet when we first started. I don't know that you guys got them or not.
Are they online?
They're probably online.
They're all online.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can get them online.
So I'll check the state on this and make sure. And then the next one is the dog ordinance. Am I correct that we've not always had to register our dogs? That seems like it's only been in the past 5 years, 10
Well, I'll
years.
guarantee it's been at least 20.
Has it really?
I've
Been
been
since
registering
I've
dogs
lived
here for
here.
at least 20.
So
I thought that was something new.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay, so the dog ordinance, I guess I could reach out and ask Sue.
Oh, the dog guy.
Dog guy, do we have a dog guy?
Yes, we have a dog guy. We
Okay.
do.
Oh, I have to find out who the dog guy is.
Tom, I think is his name.
Tom Holland.
Who is it?
Tom Holland is the
Tom
animal
Holland.
control officer.
So I'll try to track that down and see if I can get anything good from him. That dog ordinance, believe it or not, is a little bit beefier than I expected it to be.
That might be a mandated one too.
Wow, that's 3 pages long for a dog ordinance. Okay, the next one is the PACE ordinance. It's property assessed clean energy ordinance. Go,
Okay.
tell me.
I've been around since 2012. I contacted Efficiency Maine to see if this program is still around. I got a voicemail back from Monty Johnson from Efficiency Maine saying that it still does exist. It was adopted in the first place so that the people in the town could apply for a loan from Efficiency Maine for weatherizing or heat pumps, something like that.
Yep.
What Mr. Johnson told me is that at present the program is on pause. They're kind of reevaluating all the programs that Efficiency Maine has. My supposition is that if a homeowner has an option for a loan or a credit, or go with a rebate, or go with the rebate.
Hmm.
So I don't think it would do any harm just leaving it as is until such time that this program is either
Modified or whatever.
Modified.
Yeah.
Modified or killed.
Yeah. Or killed, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so perhaps we should just move beyond the pace ordinance then. That's actually a pretty beefy ordinance.
Again, similar to the floodplain thing, it's pretty much a
It's
model
a
that-
standard
yeah,
model that
the state
comes
provided
down.
for
Yeah,
us to adopt.
from the state?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so we'll skip over the pace ordinance and let that be. Then we have the recall ordinance. John, that didn't sound good, Don. The ordinance for the recall of elected municipal officers. It's this ordinance adopted pursuant. This might need some. I'm gonna check this one against our charter and make sure that it's all copacetic. So we'll check that against charter. And then the last one is the sex offender. Oh, did somebody have a question? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Well, that, when I was in the legislature, what they did was read the summaries of other bills that came up.
Mhm.
One that caught my eye was a proposal to preempt any municipality from adopting any sex offender residency ordinance. At that time, 13 towns already had adopted one. Waterboro and Lyman were 2 of the 13, I was representing both of them. So I kind of went to that, at least to allow towns to come up with something for their own peace of mind on this particular issue. And what they came up with was, okay, if the town has a sex offender residency ordinance, it has to be this, and that's what we got.
Is this one?
And that's still in effect, that's
And this one's
38 Part
So you
2,
can't
Chapter 141.
from 2011?
Yeah,
It has not changed at all since 2011?
no.
Wow.
Well, it's only a decade.
That's a long time for an ordinance
I
though.
believe it's the,
Oh my
as we
God.
had it, 750 feet.
Well, I reckon
over the
See how you
city
feel
line.
in 6 months when everybody wants to change
So-
what we've done all this time and work on.
So that one pretty much has to stay,
I believe so. If the town wants to.
if the town wants to
have,
keep it.
it
Right,
has to-
right,
it has to
exactly.
conform to the state requirements.
Okay,
And I don't think they've changed.
okay. All right,
Now, what, is there a benefit to having it if the state has one?
But the state's saying if the
Oh,
town has one, it has.
Theirs
to
doesn't
be this.
apply. If we don't have one, theirs doesn't apply. Okay, it's not like the
Yeah,
shoreline.
that's right.
Okay.
There's no
and
state-
we cannot make it more restrictive.
Pace, but that one we're not going
Pace.
to touch.
This is probably one that we can
Ordinance,
make less restrictive, but not more.
Recall. sex
Less or
offender.
more.
And the whole process that I witnessed in terms of them coming up with the distance was pretty much on the fly. You know,
Wow.
750 feet, it's like 2 football fields plus, okay, we'll go with that. It was all precipitated by a situation over in Waterboro where a registrant was living across from the then junior high. And then they adopted this
Yeah.
as a result, and sort of as a reflex of response the town adopted.
For the town of
something
Lyman, yep.
similar to-
Do you happen to know,
I'll
This-
take a look-
yeah, go ahead,
I'll take a look at what the state has. I believe it's the same.
the
language
exact
we
same
have,
thing?
But I'll
Yeah.
check to be sure.
Okay, perfect. That would be great.
Yeah, that'll be an easy one. You can just.
Yeah, that
check-
would be.
Check it off. It's
Okay,
done.
yep, done. So yeah, I think we've made it to the end of all those small ordinances. And what we'll do next time when we come back, I will have done that research and I will make sure that I get these other ones, the records. And Matt, can you pass along that street to your guy and
Welcome.
bring that back next time? And we can hash that one out. And that, I think, is going to be it for the night. If anybody else has comment, you have comment?
I have a
Oh,
question.
you have a
if
question?
you-
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, just from the discussions,
Sure.
I know it was mentioned several times to wait for the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Do they vote like what we just did on sections so that we can then take that and work off it? Or do we have to wait till they complete the review of the whole plan?
So, well, we are currently, comprehensive plan has not been formed very long. We've only had, 4 or 5 meetings maybe. And we're currently working on survey data. Because the data that supports our comprehensive plan currently is very outdated. And we're trying to, in April, the Department of Ag is going to put out a bunch of new demographic information for us and data. So once we get that, then we can start working. And even if we have to do it in sections, we probably will, I don't know, but we really are kind of stymied until we get that data, really. I mean,
So
that's all we're
what,
doing.
I guess that's what I was wondering. It sounds
Yeah.
like there's not much we can do until they get done with what they're doing.
Exactly.
Well, they is us, but, I mean,
Okay.
He and I are on comprehensive plan
Okay.
together.
there's
And
a
Dave
whole,
Alves.
there's a whole package of demographic data that backs up the current comprehensive plan, which is only, it's only about 20 pages, pretty small.
Yeah,
relatively
I've
small.
read it.
But it's, the data there is from 2010 census primarily. So it has to be updated, and then the question is who's gonna do it, and as Peggy said, I guess it's under the agricultural committee, which is a little strange, but, I don't know.
Okay.
And the
So,
town,
yeah.
the town doesn't have any kind of resources, and I don't think they could, we couldn't get that, we couldn't update that.
And when
No.
we did the comprehensive plan
No.
in 2019, we relied on the stuff.
data from
We-
the town.
and the data that he provided, the
Yeah.
data.
Oh, okay.
We just wrote guidelines based on what we'd observed. and the data we had.
Okay, so we are good, and we're gonna look at our next meeting date, which will be we're the 1st and 3rd, so we go, obviously, this is the 2nd one of the week. Excuse me, of the month. So the 7th, March 7th will be our next meeting.
It's my daughter's birthday.
It wouldn't be the 29th?
No, because we're 1st and 3rd, remember?
Is there-
So we get 2 weeks off.
Is there a 29th this month anyway?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
There is?
Yeah, oh, yeah, this
It's
is
a
leap year.
leap year.
Happens every 4 years.
Yeah.
Sadie Hawkins Day.
My mother was born on the 1st. She's dying to be born on the 29th. You'd be 1/4 her age.
That's great.
What was that date in March? I'm sorry.
The 7th of March.
She
Is our
tells
next
you a lot
meeting.
about the way my mother was.
So I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
And
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No opposed? Done. Okay. I am so excited that we got that.
Thank you all, good night.
Thanks,
Good night,
Dave.
Dave.
Thanks, Buzz.
Good night, Buzzy.
Military
Good
exemption,
night.
I'll take a look at that because that was.
I think you can hear me.
We
Good
can hear you,
night.
I can
Buzzy.
hear you, Buzz.
Yeah, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Jesus.
That was, I think, about.
Sounds like
Thereabouts as well. And it's super logical is that if you're on active duty and you're deployed, your vehicle is not being used on the road. Therefore, an exemption.
Yes.
from the
No, it is.
excise tax.
That would make
Aside
sense.
from
I
that,
just didn't want.
you know, active duty,
Yeah.
We need to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too, for sure. Thank you.
It sounds like it's something that he might be involved
No, I-
Is there what?
in. No, I don't know this whole thing about-
This-
I mean, I think it's. I don't know.
Part of shoreline.
Yep, last one of that.
You also?
That one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where is that?
That is,
in here? Is this
yes,
a different-
it is. It's page,
I
I
can't,
think
I couldn't find that.
it's page 50. I'm not sure.
I think we advertised that.
This shoreline number is horrible, right here. So, see this part. And then we added the ADU
All
portion.
this?
Yep, to under here. And then obviously we just struck the owner occupied from the section that we added in.
Okay. So this is
Yeah, that's
page
that, right there,
16.
yeah.
I don't know.
Looks like we can't force anything. I mean, it's